These animals you're about to see have been confined in captivity, some of them for all of their life. So let's witness their joy and wonder as they rediscover what it means to be truly alive. This chimp was incredibly close to dying when a wildlife conservationist brought it back to her sanctuary for treatment. Once healed, they decided to take the chimp back home to Chinsolu Island, and their final goodbye is both beautiful and heartbreaking. Who says wild animals don't have feelings? These 4 Siberian tigers had spent their entire life in captivity after being captured by poachers as babies. This was how they reacted after being freed. They look ecstatic to be out in the wild in their habitat. You can just tell by the look on their faces this is where they truly belong, and not locked up inside some cage. This is what over 300 happy baby turtles look like. Don't they just melt your heart? This leopard accidentally entered a village in India and couldn't find its way out. People tried to help the big cat, but it got scared and hid inside a storage room. Wildlife officials rescued the cat and safely released it back into the wild. And the leopard's reaction after returning home is absolutely precious. It just couldn't wait to get back to its natural habitat. These pigeons had been cramped up inside these trucks for who knows how long. And when they were finally let go, it was absolutely majestic. The way they almost instantly get into formation really proves how smart these birds are. They're definitely going to thrive out in the open skies, no doubt about that. By the looks of it, this Iberian lynx couldn't wait to get back home. It doesn't even hesitate before speeding off into the forest. Couldn't even say thank you, huh? This koala had been rescued from the devastating wildfires that happened in Australia back in 2020. This is how it reacted when it was let back into the wild. It's like he got a second shot at life. Definitely our first time seeing a koala go that fast. This polar bear had to be captured after it wreaked havoc in the town of Churchill and killed a resident's dog. They kept the bear at a wildlife conservation centre for almost 30 days and earned its trust. Then, the time came to take it back home. The 400-pound bear was sedated and then airlifted back to the wild. This penguin was being treated in captivity after getting its head stuck in a piece of plastic. And when it was finally time to go back home, it made sure to thank the lady who rescued it. While they may look a little confused, this family of deer was absolutely overjoyed after being released in the wild. These pond turtles had spent their whole life in captivity under the care of wildlife rescuers, and when they were finally old enough to fend for themselves, they were released into a nearby pond. It's amazing how they just instinctively knew exactly what to do as soon as they're let go. This poor cat got its head stuck inside a plastic bottle and couldn't get out. Thankfully, a good Samaritan stepped up to help the feline. After a long and excruciating process, the cat was finally free. This black panther was a little hesitant to step out of its cage, but all it needed was a little nudge from its rescuer. This leopard accidentally entered a town in India's Uttar Pradesh region. Since it couldn't find its way back, wildlife rescuers had to take matters into their own hands. The big cat looks very relieved as it runs out of its cage. It's like a scene out of a Disney movie, seeing these horses be released. Absolutely majestic. It's like they got to run free for the first time in their lives. From the way they happily run off, it's easy to tell that they had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. This bald eagle had to be rescued after she got stuck in some fishing nets. Once she was fully healed, it was time to set her free. The rescuers took the bird back where they picked her up, and from the looks of it, the whole town came to say goodbye. It's kind of poetic to see her fly off into the sunset like that. This baby seal was absolutely terrified. after it got caught in a bunch of fishing nets. It wouldn't even let the rescuers get near, but they finally got hold of it. Interestingly, after being freed, the seal showed some incredibly unusual behaviour. Instead of running instantly, it stays behind, almost like it's saying thanks. In this highly dangerous rescue, people risk their lives to release a crocodile back into the water. They even stay behind to make sure it gets back home safely. Over 100 bison were released into the wild, and it literally looks like something out of a movie. This definitely has to be one of the biggest animal releases ever. This street merchant had trapped birds into this tiny cage and was looking to sell them, and this kind man decided to buy all of them, but not to keep them locked up in a cage at his home. Instead, he set them all free as soon as he bought them. This Siberian tiger had to be raised in captivity after its mother was killed by poachers, and the sight of it being released back into its natural habitat is incredibly magical. The animal looks absolutely ecstatic to be out there. It's like the animal's living life for the first time. These fishermen accidentally pulled in a great white shark, but instead of keeping it and selling it for hundreds of dollars, they decided to put the endangered fish back into the water. So kind of them to choose humanity over money. It's truly amazing. This 100-year-old massive lobster looks like it's come straight out of an Aliens movie. Like, that thing has to be the largest of its kind. A catch like this would definitely be worth thousands of dollars. But this kind fisherman didn't think twice before releasing it back in the water. It's great that this important part of history gets to live its life freely. This massive humpback whale got stranded at shore and no one could get it back in. Just a little more time out of the water and it could have died. But these rescuers were able to push it back in with the help of a huge wave. Guess Mother Nature was on their side that day. These foxes just couldn't contain their excitement after being set free. Watching them happily skip into the woods like that just made our day. This massive vulture decided to soak the moment in after it was set free by rescuers. It even posed for pictures. Guess that's how they say thank you in vulturese. These bighorn sheep had actually been captured from a different part of Nevada before being set free in Utah's Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. While it may sound a little mean to just randomly pick up sheep and drop them off in some desert, but this is actually their native habitat. And this mission was actually part of a much larger project that aims to repopulate the region with its native animals. Ain't that just swell? If you ever wondered how remote lakes never run out of fish, this is the answer. This may look kind of dangerous, but don't worry, no fish are harmed in the process. They're so tiny and are released along with water. They easily survive the landing without injury. These people tried releasing a grizzly bear back into its habitat, but it kinda backfired tremendously. This is how a female cheetah reacted after being released in a wilderness reserve. It looks curious and excited at the same time. Alright, that's a wrap. Consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one.